For the first time, the World Health Organization's Cancer Research Group said it's categorizing the artificial sweetener aspartame, got it that time, as a possible carcinogen, but the FDA does not agree.
I was ready to help you just in case. Here to talk more about this is our 9 health expert, Dr. Kohli. Thanks for coming in.
Good morning.
So first, what is aspartame? Why are we consuming it?
An artificial sweetener, guys, and it's in over 6,000 products, everything from diet sodas, chewing gum, even toothpaste, salad dressing, so it's really all over, and it's about 200 times as sweet as sugar. It's been around for several decades, but the science is really very contradictory when it comes to the safety of this particular additive.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. Now, this is kind of being said by different things from the WHO and the FDA. They disagree on this. Why is that?
Yeah, so aspartame first came about in 1974. And then a few years later, there were some animal studies that suggested that maybe it's causing brain tumors in rats. So they suspended its use. And then in 1981, the FDA said, we think it's safe. Let's put it back with some limits for consumption. More recently, the WHO did some independent studies. Now, the studies, I will say, are not the best quality studies because they're observational studies. So they're looking at people who use aspartame and saying, well, they have a higher risk of cancer. But could that be because they're doing something else that increases their risk of cancer as well? It's just a marker for behavior, not necessarily causative. But based on that, they raised this flag saying that it's possibly a carcinogen. Now, that doesn't mean it necessarily is. This is a lower rating than, for example, alcohol or tobacco, which we know are carcinogens. But the WHO is kind of raising a flag saying we need more research. The FDA, on the other hand, made a very strong statement after that came out and said, absolutely not. It's safe if it's used as we've recommended.
Is aspartame, I mean, you said it's 200 times sweeter than sugar, right? And we see it if it says sugar-free or diet, sometimes it has aspartame in it. Is this something that the body just doesn't quite recognize?
So it's completely chemical, it's artificial, but it does break down into natural substances in our bodies. Now, there's certain individuals with phenylketonuria, which cannot take aspartame. But for most of us, we break it down and we sort of excrete it. So it's not something that we necessarily hold on to, but really the question becomes the dose. So if it is toxic, and it's in very small amounts because it's so much more concentrated than sugar, do we really just need a large dose in order for it to start to have carcinogenic risks?
What does that mean for maybe somebody that likes to have a Diet Coke, you know, once a day or something? What as a doctor, what is your advice to them if they're hearing this and they're kind of afraid to have their favorite beverage?
Don't be afraid. Okay. I would say that's the first thing, because the FDA and the WHO have not actually changed their limits for safe consumption. So for a 150-pound person, they could have up to 14 cans of diet soda before they start to cross some of those safe limits. But I will say that the evidence for aspartame, it's a lot of evidence, but it's not good quality evidence. So if you have a choice not to have a diet soda and instead have water, that would be a better choice to make, because we know sugar is toxic. Yeah. We don't know if aspartame is toxic. We don't think it is, but it may be in high doses, but we know that water is always safe.
Go with water.
That's right.
And especially today, Ed, because it's hot out there, we need to make sure people stay hydrated.